My name is Ian, an engineer working for Omniflex Remote Monitoring Specialists. Today, in this video, I'm going to talk about Omniset, which is a software utility of ours, the purpose of which is for configuration of all our intelligent products and also for functional or status monitoring of those products. It's free software downloadable from our website. In the video, I will show you how to connect to the product you want to configure, how to load a configuration template file, the structure of our template files, how to make configuration changes or check configuration settings, how to monitor product status, and finally how to save configuration data or restore previously archived settings. In this demo, the first thing I want to do is show you how to get connected to your target, which is the hardware that you want to set up or monitor. Now, depending on the product that you're using, you have options to connect directly via USB, via RS-232, using a RS-232 to USB adapter generally, or via Ethernet, just to name a few of the possibilities. Once you've plugged the USB cable into your PC, as I've already done, the most important first step really is to determine the virtual COM port that Windows allocates to that device. Remember, this only has to be done the first time that the new adapter is used in the PC. To check this, you need to open Device Manager and browse for the particular USB device. The exact method will depend on what version of Windows you're actually using. Here I'm going to show you it on Windows 11. So I'm browsing to Device Manager. I'm going to look under Ports, and here I can see that my device is actually COM3. It's been allocated COM3. So just remember the setting, and then you can close the Device Manager. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open Omniset, and then we can see how that works. I've opened Omniset now, and you'll see it starts up with a blank screen. In order to use it, we need to load what's called a template file. A template file specifies how a particular product can be configured or monitored. But before we do that, I need to set up the serial port or whatever connection I need to be able to talk to the device. To do that, I need to go to my menu options, port settings, and then you'll see serial port setting. If you remember, mine was set to 3, so I need to change that to 3 and press OK, and now I'm ready to go. Now, to load up a template file, the easiest option at this stage is to select from the menu again, File, Connect. And what Omniset will do will be connect to the product, interrogate what it is, and load up the correct template file. After loading the template file, you'll get this pop-up box, which is talking about syncing to the target. I'm not going to go into detail at this point in time about that, so you'll just click Continue without syncing. At this point, I'll tell you about two other possible ways that you can actually load up a template file for a product. You've got to know a little bit more about what you're doing, though. One option is File, Open Template from the library. So this will actually bring up a pop-up with all the possible template files that are actually stored on your PC in a library, and they are categorized per product type. So as long as you know what you're doing, you can browse the product type. You can then browse a particular template file for a particular subcategory of product, click Open, and that will actually open the product template. The other option is to actually open a configuration file that you've previously worked on and saved. To do that, File, Open, that'll browse your Explorer, and here I've got one that I saved earlier, my saved config, and I can just click on that and open it to do whatever I need to. So I'd like to tell you a little bit more now about how a template file is actually structured. So we actually have, on the left-hand side here, we've got two types of data group. We've got green groups, and that is status information. So that is information that's being read back from the particular piece of hardware that you connected to. So that will be changing all the time or as things change in the product. And secondly, we've got the red groups, which are static or configuration groups. and it's by changing those particular groups that you can go about doing the configuration of the particular product. I'll show you now how to configure a particular item on this particular product. So I'm going to go into here. This product has got 12 I/O, which can be configured as digital inputs, digital outputs, analog inputs, etc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the first I/O point, double click on that, and from my drop down list you'll see I've got various different options, so I can choose it to be a digital input, analog input, etc. I'm going to change this to an analog input, press OK, and I can now write it down to the hardware. And to do that I can either use these icons here or I can use the menu. So I can go to data, write the current group. So that's going to write the group of information that I've actually just changed. So if I click on that, you'll see it actually does a write down. So that's configured that particular input to an analog input. What I could do is I could actually configure the whole product, all the settings that need to be set for it, and then I could at the end of that go to data, write all groups, and that'll write the complete configuration file down to the product in one go. I can either do that or I can use this particular icon here, which writes all static groups to the target in one go. So once I've made all my configuration changes that I need to and written them down to the target hardware, the best thing to do is do a file save. So I archive the configuration that I've set, and to do that I'll do file save as. You can change the file name or just save over the top of the existing one, replace yes. It'll come up with a pop-up box that asks you whether you want to put some change detail in. So this is really for change tracking. So I can put a reason in there if I want to, or I can just say save without history if I'm not bothered about that. As well as writing data down to the target device, I can obviously also read back from it. So to do that, I've got a couple of options once again. I've got the icons here where I can read just the current group. I can also read all the groups from the target by looking at the second icon here, and those options are also both available from the menu. So I can read the current group or read all groups. So to demonstrate how the reading works, I'm just going to give you a little demo here. So I'm going to change this input that I changed previously to an analog input back to a digital input. I'm not going to write it down to the target, however. I'm just going to read back what I wrote previously. Read the current group from the target, and you'll see that's changed back to an analog input. So it's read what I set down to it previously. The final thing you can do from a configuration perspective in Omniset is to do a verify. This is where you want to check that the configuration that you've got in your file matches what's actually in the target hardware if you're not sure. So you've got two options. You can either do it on a group by group basis, so you can verify the current group, or I can verify all static groups. I'm just going to demonstrate the verify function to you very quickly, and we'll use the same group and item that we've changed previously. I'll change it back again from an analog input to a digital input. I'm not going to write it down, of course. I'm then going to do a data verify current group. And it comes back and says verified failed. Do you want to view the details? And you can actually view the details. I'm not going to go into the details of how you interpret this, but essentially that'll be the subject of another video. Just to finish that off, I'm going to now just read that particular group back again. So just read the single group. It changes back to an analog input. And then if I do a verify again, data verify current group, and this time round we get a verify successful, so we know that we're matching. Obviously in normal circumstances you would verify the complete file against the product to make sure your whole configuration matches. I mentioned at the start of this video that Omniset is also used for monitoring status or functionality of a product. So you can look at information in the product. For example, I could go and look at my digital input status. Here I can see all my inputs are off. Nothing's changing at the moment, so I'm not going to see too much. Another useful bit of information I can look at is the group called About This Product. In this group, we've got something called the Alive counter, which all Omniflex products contain. It's a counter that's continually incrementing, and it tells you that the device is effectively alive. Also in here, we see the software version. So if you want to know what version you've got, that's where you look. Well, that's the end of my brief introduction to Omniset and its basic features. There are some additional features which I haven't gone into in this video. However, you will be able to find more information as a subject of future videos. In addition to that, you will find product-specific videos where we go through and show you how to actually configure a specific product using Omniset. Thank you very much for watching.